Hello, how you guys doing today? Hey, welcome in. I'm going to give it a few seconds for people to jump on if you do. And while you're coming in, drop where you're watching from in the comments. While we wait, also, how's the weather? Are you having a good week? Are you having a good day? So while we wait, want to talk about something real quick. A lot of people are using AI wrong. They're typing basic prompts and getting basic answers and saying AI doesn't work for them. And that's like buying a gym membership and only using the parking lot. So what I do and what I teach at Promptify is prompt engineering. That sounds complicated, but it literally just means knowing how to talk to AI. So, it literally just means knowing how to talk to AI. So it gives you something you can actually use. Today, I'm going to show you in a topic, and by the end of this, you'll be able to do this yourself in about 5 minutes. Everything I show you is inside Promptify, and it's free to start, and the link is in my bio. So for today, a sentence to summarize what we'll talk about in general before I get all the way into it is build a career evidence bank. So here's the thing, right? Per usual, every single prompt I use in the short form today is going to make up an entire system that I'm going to explain in this long form video. So we're going to go through all the steps and showcase all the prompts after, right? And I'll expand on anything to clarify it if need be, as usual. So here's the thing. This is not a resume writer. It is an evidence bank. What I did, what I changed, and what I need to verify. That's what we're gonna discuss here. In this evidence bank, it's gonna show what I did, what I changed, and what I need to verify. And obviously, verification is very important. Be honest about what it is you can and cannot do, or what can you actually offer for real. Like, do you have even proof on this, or how can you showcase that so that they can trust that they know you can actually deliver something, right? Whether it's a result, product, service, whatever. So I'm going to go through the steps as usual. Going to give like a short description of what we're going to talk about for each prompt. And you can also find this in the short itself, but we're going to go through the entire thing here because use every single prompt in order or whatever order makes sense to you. Basically, if you were to use this, it's an entire system that gets the job done with what it is, what the whole point of this is. For this video, which again is you're building a career evidence bank, right? So for the first prompt, you replace traits with actions. The second prompt is, and these are very, very summarized things, right? The second prompt we're going to talk about, or it's going to showcase, gap is a research cue, not copy to fake, right? So gap being, let's say there's, you fill in the blank somewhere where it's, let's say that you're talking about something you maybe could do, right? Random example. And let's say you don't have verification on that. You need to research whether you can actually do that or not. Maybe go do a trial project. Maybe go find someone where you can do this for free for them just to see if you can do it. And have them give you a testimonial. And it could cost you time or money, whatever. But make sure that you have proof, or else don't speak on it. Don't lie to people, because what happens is if you say you could do something, like I keep saying in all these videos, when it comes to, if you say you can deliver something, well, that's more business wise. If you say you can deliver something and you can't for a business, that can now go into why it's justified that they can ask you for a refund or whatever else comes with that, right? But let's keep that same energy throughout everything. If it's something that doesn't require a lot of skill but just requires grit, like, oh, I know I can sit down and do this repetitive task for 20 hours straight, even if you know you can't, but you're willing to do it, maybe you could say that because you know you're willing to do it and it's not something you can't do. But when we're talking about a skill level or acquired knowledge or acquired experience, like, just be honest about that, right? Or else that's what's called the gap. So for the second prompt again, gap is a research cue. It's a cue for you to go research, or and not copy to fake. So not copy means like you writing something That's like a word for saying like you down that writing down information. So the copy for this would be the information regarding you being able to do something or not. And it's saying with the sentence not copy to fake, it's saying don't write down that sentence as if this is something you can do. Just don't even add that in yet. Research and make sure that this you can verify that you can do this first, right? Third prompt is practice after checking details. Um, the fourth prompt is going to be no fake warmth or no hidden job ask. The fifth prompt is going to be compare intro to source notes. And some stuff to speak on real quick before we jump into it is we're gonna remove. Okay, so there's gonna be privacy accuracy check, remove confidential details. Obviously, I'm using an example, but okay. So and then verify title, verify dates, verify metrics, and verify permissions. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna flip to the screen. I'm gonna show you the prompt that I put in for every single prompt for all the short forms. I'm going to read off them in order and how this makes up this entire system. Ready? So the first prompt we have here is turn these experience notes into evidence statements for a resume draft. For each, there's going to be action. There's going to be, so for each thing we talk, so for each of the evidence, for each of the notes turned into evidence statements for a resume draft, there's going to be action. There's going to be action category. There's going to be a context category. There's going to be an observable input category. Observable output category, and then a metric category, and then or in a metric or detail to verify category, right? So metric or detail to verify category, that's all the same thing right there. That's just the title of that category. And do not invent results. Do not invent titles. Do not invent dates. And do not invent numbers. You paste your notes. I already taught the ChatGPT. It filled it in. So I'm going to read off the answer. So it says, since you asked me to film. Okay, so I already addressed that. I gave the information. So evidence statement 1. Okay, so for evidence statement 1, the action is reviewed LinkedIn posts for messaging patterns. The context is conducted a content audit of 10 LinkedIn posts. The observable output is identified repeat messaging gaps and documented 5 priority recommendations. And the metric or detail to verify is confirm the number of posts reviewed and recommendations delivered. For evidence statement 2, the action is presented audit findings to a client. The context is walkthrough following the LinkedIn content audit. The observable output is discuss the audit PDF during one call. The metric or detail to verify is confirm the walkthrough format and duration. Now for evidence statement 3, whoops. So this is the next one, but we're not on that yet. For evidence statement 3, the action is structured audit observations into a client-facing deliverable. The context is LinkedIn messaging review. The observable output is produce a PDF containing the audit findings and recommendations, and the metric or detail to verify is confirm the final PDF contents and delivery format. So what this did here was, so it took the experience notes that I gave it and turned it into evidence statements for a resume draft, and for each it put the action regarding the evidence statement, it put the action, it put the context, it put the observable output, and it put the metric or detail to verify. So it did that for all 3 that was used in the example that I gave it. Excuse me. So for the next prompt, or the next part of the system, it says create a requirements to evidence map using this job description and my experience notes. The columns are job requirement. The next column is the first column is job requirement. The next column is matching evidence. The next column is detail to verify, and then the next column after that is honest gap. And I do not claim, do not claim I meet a requirement without support in my notes. And then you'd fill in the job description and you fill in uh, the experience notes. So I'm going to read off all this. So using the fictional LinkedIn content audit example we've been using, the job description, which we made up here, is audit social media content for messaging patterns and gaps. Next point is review written content and identify reoccurring themes. The next point is develop clear recommendations based on the audit. The next point is create client-facing written deliverables. The next point is present the findings to clients. And the experience notes that we're going to use for this after the job description that I just read off. The experience notes is you reviewed 10 LinkedIn posts for messaging You reviewed 10 LinkedIn posts for messaging patterns. The next point is I identified repeat messaging gaps. The third point is develop 5 priority recommendations. The next point after that is produce a PDF with audit findings and recommendations. The next point after that is discuss the PDF with the client during one call. So I'm going to zoom out and showcase basically, let me just check this over real quick. So let me just say this real quick. So create a requirements to evidence map using the job description and experience notes. The columns is job requirement matching evidence and details to verify an honest gap. Okay. So what I did is I just read off the job description and experience notes. Then going to read all this. This is going to showcase where everything fits in. So the job requirement in the job requirement column, for the first one, we have audit social media content for messaging patterns and gaps. The next is matching evidence. It's reviewed 10 LinkedIn posts and identified repeat messaging gaps. The third column is detail to verify. We confirm the 10 posts review and the specific gaps identified. And then the last column is the honest gap. There is none based on the notes that I gave it. So the second job requirement was review written content and identify recurring themes. The matching evidence for this regarding that job description was reviewed LinkedIn posts for messaging patterns. The details to verify is confirm whether reoccurring themes were explicitly documented. Then the honest gap is the notes do not specifically mention themes. The third job requirement is develop clear recommendations based on the audit. The matching evidence is develop 5 priority recommendations. The detail to verify is confirm the recommendations were based directly on the audit, and the honest gap is none based on the notes. The fourth job requirement is create client-facing written deliverables. The matching evidence is produce a PDF with audit findings and recommendations. The details to verify is confirm the PDF was client-facing, and the honest gap was none based on the notes. The fifth job requirement was present findings to clients. The matching evidence for this was discuss the PDF with one client during one call. Discuss the PDF with the client during one call. The detail to verify, the detail to verify was confirmed. The call involved presenting or discussing findings. And the honest gap was the notes do not establish broader client presentation experience beyond this call. So what all this did, just to say it over again, we just scroll up a little bit. so I can get back to the prompt and explain. So the prompt again is create a requirements to evidence map, an entire map where we use columns, and is using this job description and my experience notes. So we're matching the job description with the experience notes using a column or a map, right? A map with columns, right? To categorize everything. The columns was job requirements. Job requirements was the first column. Matching evidence was the second column. Details to verify was the third column, and the honest gap was the fourth column. And I do not claim I meet requirement. So do not claim I meet requirements without supporting my notes. Provided it the notes, and then it did literally all that. So as you can see, we listed out the job description, or the five parts of it, or the job requirements. We categorize that into five things, and then we categorize the notes, and then we match the notes with the job description and seeing how everything lined up in a map, right? Using columns. So sorry for the next, for the next one, the next prompt, I should say, is turn this experience, the next prompt in the system, right? Turn this experience note into a star interview story outline. Use only the note, label any missing outcome or number, and verify before interview. Keep it as bullets, not a polished script. And the experience note. And then you would have pasted your experience note there, right? So I'm going to read this off. So using the fictional experience note from our ongoing example, the experience note reviewed 10 LinkedIn posts. I identified repeat messaging gaps, created 5 priority recommendations, delivered the findings in a PDF, and discussed them with one client. And discuss them with the client on one call. So the star outline is started with a situation. Then from that situation, it was a client needed a review of 10 LinkedIn posts, the task. And then we're going to talk about the task. The task was review the posts and identify repeat messaging gaps. Then we're going to talk about the actions. The actions were review the 10 LinkedIn posts, identified first was I reviewed the 10 LinkedIn posts. The second was identified repeat messaging gaps. The third was created 5 priority recommendations. The fourth was delivered the findings in a PDF. And the fifth was discuss the PDF with the client on one call. And then we're going to talk about the result. The result was outcome. Out of the results, the first was the outcome was verified before the interview, and then any additional measurable result or impact to verify before the interview. And obviously, what this answer just did was, let me just scroll back up. So it says turn this experience note into a star interview story outline. Use only the note, label any missing outcome or number, and verify before the interview. So obviously what that did was that it turned the experience note into a star interview story outline, which is literally what I just read off. And then it used only the note that I gave it, and it labeled any missing outcome or number to verify before the interview. And I read all that off. And then at the bottom, we talked about what that needed to be verified before the interview. So for the next prompt in the system, it's draft a short networking message from this real context. Mention one specific point I genuinely noticed and one simple reason to connect. Do not claim familiarity. Request a job. Do not claim familiarity. Do not request a job. And do not ask for a meeting unless I provide that intent. And then we're going to be able to paste the context. I already did that. So the answer we have here regarding the information I gave it was, I notice your LinkedIn content often focuses on one. I notice your LinkedIn content often focuses on clear messaging and practical content strategy. I'm working in a similar area through content audits and messaging reviews, so I thought it would be useful to connect. So what this did was it drafted a short networking message from this real context, mentioned one specific point I generally notice and one simple reason to connect. And that's exactly what this sentence just explained as I just read, and you can feel free to pause and read it again just to make sure. And it said it did not claim familiarity, did not request a job, and it did not ask for a meeting unless I provided that intent from the context that I gave it. So it basically I didn't show the context I gave it, but it basically showcased exactly what I'd asked it to do regarding the context of what was being talked about. Now, the next or the fifth and final is draft a 75-word portfolio case study introduction from these project notes. Include context, include problem, include my role, include an observable output, and add a note for any missing metric or outcome, and do not add results. And then the project notes I pasted. So I'm going to read off the answer that I got for that based on the project notes that I had given it, or the information that I made up to give it. So a client wanted a clear view of messaging across their LinkedIn content. The project focused on reviewing 10 LinkedIn posts and identifying repeat messaging gaps. My role was to conduct the content audit documentation. My role was to conduct the content audit. It was also to document observations, and it was to develop 5 priority recommendations. Now, I delivered the findings in a PDF and discussed the document with the client during one call. The project notes do not include a measurable outcome beyond the documented deliverables. And then the thing left to verify was verify any metric or outcome beyond the 5 recommendations. So obviously what this just did here is this is a 75-word portfolio case study introduction from these project notes. And what it included the context, it included the problem, it included my role, and it included an observable output, and then it added a note for any missing metric or outcome, and it doesn't add results. So obviously that's what I just read off here. So basically the context was a client wanted a clear view of messaging across their LinkedIn content. Or that was like the problem. The project focused on reviewing 10 LinkedIn posts and identifying repeat messaging gaps. That's like the context and the problem kind of mixed together. Then I talked about my role literally next with the sentence that says my role was to conduct the content audit, documentation, observations, and develop 5 priority recommendations. That's me discussing my role from where I asked it to do that in the prompt. And then the observable output was, So then after that, it says I delivered my findings in a PDF and discussed the document with the client during one call. And the project note. So that's like the observable output. And then the note added for any missing metric or outcome was basically the project notes do not include measurable outcome beyond the documented deliverables. So that's me discussing the any missing metric or outcome, and I did not add any results. Then I put in the note to verify any metric or outcome beyond the 5 recommendations. And that's based off the project notes I gave it. So basically, like I said, this is the entire system you can use to literally do exactly what I explained, which is, I'll just read it off again real quick. I'm going to use the exact wording that I use for the title of this. So, building a career evidence bank, right? So, when it comes to this, you can use this system to build a career evidence bank. You can use any of these or all of them together. It gets the job done. Literally, you can have your own way of doing it, but you use all this together and it gets it done as well, right? You just have to literally input the information that would be applicable to you, obviously. Now, so basically, when it comes to all this stuff and all these types of systems and prompts and all that stuff, blah blah blah, you can find them inside Promptify. It's free to start, and the link is in the bio. Now, also, if there's anything that I said today that helped you, that is amazing, and I hope you have a great day.